Yeah, just hanging out with a sleeping bag at the Federal Reserve in Dallas. October 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Just hanging out. No big deal. You know, just downtown Dallas at the Federal Reserve. Just hanging out. As for you, Roseanne, I like you, sort of. Mostly, except for the economics and the communism and the dictator thing and the feminism. But I like you. So, on October 7th, 2011, Alex Jones is going to come to Dallas, Texas, and he's going to make a speech at the Federal Reserve Bank, and he's going to call for the occupation of the Federal Reserve, and he wants to audit and or in the Federal Reserve System. He's calling for a peaceful protest. Now, the people who started the Occupy Wall Street movement, a lot of them are either left-wingers or they're being tried to. They're the left-wing big money people are apparently trying to take them over, which happened to the Tea Party, right? The Republicans tried to take over the Tea Party. You get a grassroots movement and then people try and take it over. But anyway, this is supposed to be a peaceful protest. The people are going to go down in Dallas, downtown Dallas, and they're going to protest the Federal Reserve, which is a private corporation that issues currency, decides the interest rates, and all sorts of things like that. Now, do you realize how rich you and I would be if me and you sat around in a room and said, we're going to raise the interest rates next week or not? Yeah, we are. It's like, so I know ahead of time where the interest rates are going to go up or down. You don't think that I could make like an ass load of money on the stock exchange? I mean, I'm just saying. So anyway, now, the Treasury should be able to issue currency, right? So the Federal Reserve, the Treasury should be able to issue money for the United States of America, and basically it doesn't really cost us anything. But with the Federal Reserve, when we issue money, then what happens is the Federal Reserve, which is a private corporation, creates money and then loans it to us at interest. It's like, F you, buddy. No way. I'm going to stop that, all right? It ain't worth it. So, the other thing about the Federal Reserve is, basically they get before Congress, and Congress asks them questions like, yeah, well, didn't you give some of that bailout money, which is taxpayer money? Didn't you give some of that money to your buddies? And didn't you give some of that money to other banks in foreign countries? And they go, you know what, we're a private corporation, so, we don't have to tell you jack. Well, yeah, you do, okay? So anyway, you need to be accountable. You need to be audited. And Ron Paul wants you to audit you, and that's one reason to vote for Ron Paul. And a reason not to vote for some of these other GOP candidates is because they don't speak out against the Fed. Herman Cain, this idiot, says, oh, the Federal Reserve, I used to work for them, and you don't need to audit them because they have so many internal audits that they don't need to be audited. It's like, what? Okay, what? So, what? We're going to tell Cheech and Chong we don't need to search their place for drugs because Cheech and Chong do their own internal searches for drugs? I mean, what are you? Yeah, I mean, you're a stooge. You're a stooge. Okay? And then all the other GOP, they won't talk about the Federal Reserve, except for Perry, who's trying to fake like he's Ron Paul. But Ron Paul's the only one. Perry's a fake, an absolute fake. And let me see, what else? And Obama, he surrounds himself with big bankers. So, I mean, he's a total puppet of the bankers. So anyway, and then Roseanne Barr over here is talking about Occupy Wall Street, and she's talking about, like, cutting the bankers' heads off and sending them to re-education camps, and anybody that owns over $100 million and stuff like that. I don't know if I believe in all that stuff. That's a little bit extreme. So anyway, I just wanted to say that this October 7th, I want to see you down in downtown Dallas. I'll be there, and I'll be wearing this shirt, Down with the Banksters. And come to the Federal Reserve and let's have a peaceful protest, because we don't need to do this, because I know how to do this. If I want to cut off people's heads, I know exactly what I've been doing. I've been doing this for years. So if I want to chop people's heads off, I can do that, but that's not what it's about. We're going to be peaceful. We're not going to chop off heads, but we're going to protest, and we're going to say, we're going to draw national attention to this, that the Federal Reserve is a private corporation, and we don't need to be paying them interest. And, you know, all these big banksters, they make up the board. It's a private corporation. It's made up by banks. So, you know, their derivatives are bullshit. We don't have to pay it, and we don't have to pay the national debt. Screw you. It's like, you know, we're skipping out on the bill. What are you going to do about it?